All right, let's talk about that feeling of being completely and totally stuck, and more importantly, how to break free. We're going to go on a journey today from feeling powerless to building something that is absolutely unstoppable, one piece at a time. Let's dive in. So, does this sound familiar? You're putting in the hours, you're giving it your all, but it just feels like you're spinning your wheels. Meanwhile, everyone else seems to be flying right past you. It is such a frustrating place to be, and it usually boils down to this one raw, honest feeling.
Man, you can just feel the weight in those words, can't you? It's that gut punch moment where the effort you're putting out just doesn't seem to match the results you're getting back. You look around and it seriously feels like the whole world is moving on without you. And this feeling, this sense of, hey, this isn't fair, that's the start of a really common trap.
And that brings us right here to what we're calling the comparison trap. This is where that feeling of unfairness really digs in its claws. It's a way of thinking that, it feels logical, but it's built on something that's completely broken.
Okay, so this is the absolute core of the problem right here. We spend so much of our time comparing our messy, complicated, behind-the-scenes footage with everybody else's perfectly edited highlight reel. We see their wins, right? The fancy vacations, the promotions, but what we don't see is the struggle, the doubt, the endless grind that got them there. And that mismatch, it creates a totally warped sense of reality.
So here's where we need to flip the script. This is so important. Instead of chasing some specific thing we think we deserve, we have to realize that life is often trying to teach us a lesson we need in order to grow. The second you start looking for that lesson instead of that reward, the entire game just changes. Which leads us right into our next big idea, building your inner foundation. Because look, before you can build anything that lasts on the outside, you have to be absolutely sure that the inside is solid as a rock. And this is where the real work begins. So the first pillar of this whole foundation is self-awareness. And this isn't some fuzzy, abstract idea, okay? It's a practical skill. It's about understanding your own operating system. What are you amazing at? What are your weaknesses? What triggers your emotions? When you really know who you are, it's so much harder for other people's opinions or crazy circumstances to throw you off course. And on the flip side of that, you have this, self-pity. If self-awareness is the foundation, self-pity is like acid that just eats it away. I mean, it's called the most destructive vice for a reason. It traps you. It keeps you blaming the world for your problems, which means you never take the actions you need to actually change your life. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy of failure. And this right here, this is the battle that happens in your head every single morning. Your feelings, they'll give you 1,000 excuses to just stay comfortable, to hit snooze, to say, I'll do it tomorrow. But your mind, your discipline, your will, that's what has to win that argument. It has to be the voice that says, nope, get up, we've got work to do. Okay, so once that inner foundation is getting solid, it is time for the next step. And that is embracing the struggle. We're taught to think that hardship is a sign we're going the wrong way. But what if it's actually proof that we're on exactly the right path? I really want you to let that sink in for a second. The struggle is guaranteed. The success is not. Anyone who has ever tried to do anything important has struggled. It's the price of admission. Our mistake is thinking that if something's hard, it means it's not meant to be. But the truth is, the hard part is the only part of the journey you can actually count on. And that leads to this huge shift in mindset. You have to stop focusing on being a champion. That's just a title, right? It's an outcome. Instead, you've got to get obsessed with delivering a championship performance every single day. That's the process. That's the work you do when no one is watching. And that's what actually builds the champion in the first place. And look, that whole process, it takes patience. It's kind of like planting a seed, right? You don't dig it up every single day to see if it's growing. No way. You have to trust the process. You water it, you protect it, and you know that all the most important growth is happening underground long before you ever see a single sprout break the surface. So what about when you fail? Because you will. You've got to reframe what failure is. It's not the end of the road, it's a tool. Seriously, think of it like a scalpel. In the wrong hands, a scalpel is incredibly dangerous, but in the hands of a surgeon, a pro who knows how to use it, that same tool saves lives. Failure is just your data. It's your feedback. It's your fuel if you learn how to use it. All right, now this brings us to a really, really important part of this whole journey. Something we often completely miss, the hidden battles. Because while we're so wrapped up in our own struggles, we forget a fundamental truth about everyone else. Just think about Avicii for a second.
On stage, in front of tens of thousands of people, he looked like he had it all. The success, the fame, the adoration. He looked like he was on top of the world. But we all know the tragic reality that was hiding behind that image. The success we see on the outside, it doesn't always match the peace somebody feels on the inside.
And it was the same exact thing with Robin Williams. He brought so much laughter into the world, but we have to remember, being funny is not the same thing as being happy. For so many people, humor and success can be a kind of mask, a wall they build to hide the darkness they're fighting every single day.
And this is the part that really hits home. Think about when you see a baby on board sign in a car's window. You automatically drive a little safer around them, right? You give them more space, more patience, because you know there's somebody precious inside. But people don't walk around wearing signs that say fighting depression, or just lost my job, or going through a divorce. Every single person you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. We have to treat them with that same kindness.
So with all of that in mind, after seeing the traps, the struggles, and the hidden battles, now it's time to turn that lens back on ourselves. It's time to focus on one thing, becoming the person you are truly capable of being. I want you to think about this number for a second. You have survived 100% of your worst days. Every single one. Every trial, every heartbreak, every single setback, you got through it. You're still here. That's not a small thing. That is proof of just how strong you are. So what's the job now? It's to build, day by day, brick by brick. And you've got to change the question you ask yourself. Don't ask, what's the bare minimum I can do to get by? Ask yourself, what is the absolute most I'm willing to endure to become something truly extraordinary? That one shift in focus, it changes everything.
And this is what it all comes down to, isn't it? The real fear isn't failing. It's not falling down. You've already proven you can get back up from that. The deepest, scariest fear is getting to the end of your life and realizing you never even tried to leap. You never took the chance to see what you were really, truly capable of.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. If you stopped waiting, if you embraced the struggle and you truly committed to building yourself brick by brick every single day, who could you become?